Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the new screensavers is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
The new Screensavers is brought to you by Wealthfront. Wealthfront is a low-cost automated investment service and the most sophisticated way to invest your money. Whether you've got millions or you're just starting out, visit wealthfront.com/NSS and sign up to get your free personalized investment portfolio. That's wealthfront.com/NSS. And by Epson's new EcoTank printers. With Epson's line of Super Tank all-in-one printers, you can print thousands of documents without running out of ink. EcoTank is loaded and ready to print when you are. Visit epson.com/ecotank to find out more. And by the Ring Video Doorbell. With Ring, you can see and talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like caller ID for your house. Go to ring.com/NSS and get $50 off one of their Ring of Security kits, the Bundle Kit or the Pro Bundle Kit with their limited time offer.
Big news from Apple's WWDC and E3, the net neutrality court decision, and we review the OnePlus 3. Live from the Twit Brick House in beautiful downtown Petaluma, it's the new Screensavers.
Episode 58 for Saturday, June 18th. Oh, that flow!
That's me,
Florence Ion is here. Good to have you from All About Android.
Yes.
And thanks to Chuck Ackerman from Thousand Oaks he's my doppelganger. Don't you think he's like my twin brother from another mother? It must be the shirt. It's all about the shirt. Thank you for joining us. Well, this was a great week. We've got a great new screensavers for you. Coming up, Bryan Burnett and Robert Ballecer from E3. We're going to talk about WWDC with our favorite programmer from Big Nerd Ranch. Aaron Hillegass will join us. Megan Morrone also has put together her top 10 announcements from WWDC. That's probably actually just a subset of they announced a lot of stuff.
Busy week.
And I'm thrilled to see you because this week, kind of surprisingly, right?
I brought you a gift.
OnePlus One said, boom, we got the OnePlus 3.
Right
and
here.
Look who has it already.
The love child of Apple and HTC, I like to call it.
$400 for I think it sounds like a top-of-the-line Android device.
Yeah.
We're going to find out. We're going to get your review. You've had it for how long?
About a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So you were seeded. You knew this was coming.
Yeah.
You kept your lips zipped.
I did. Very tightly.
Very good.
Very
I'm
tightly.
impressed. Very impressed. So that review's coming up. But let's get started with the hot topics. I want to start actually with the net neutrality decision. As you probably know, some time ago, the FCC said, we are going to enforce net neutrality. And they chose a path that a lot of people recommended. Some people were very concerned about. They said, we're going to regulate broadband companies using Title II of the Telecommunications Act, in effect saying they're the same as telecommunications companies. People were worried because one of the things Title II allows the FCC to do is regulate fares, tariffs. But they said, no, we're just going to cherry pick the parts of Title II that we want that will allow us to prevent things like paying for better performance, things like that. Now, of course, the first thing that happened is the telecoms sued.
Yes.
And they've lost. So the circuit court has said, nope, this is well within the FCC's purview. They are Title II, and we're going to let them do that. Of course, AT&T says we're going to appeal to the Supreme Court.
Of course.
But let's get right now an expert on all of this, because I probably just botched that to heck. Ernesto Omar Falcon is a legislative counsel at the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Hello, Ernesto.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome. Did I say that roughly accurately?
Yeah, I think that's pretty close. It was a pretty much, in legal terms, a blowout at the court. The telecom and the cable industry lost on all of their major arguments, and the FCC had fairly decisively won on this issue.
We were, I was for a long time, and I'm not alone because I think John Oliver joined me, not thrilled with Tom Wheeler as the chairman of the FCC. I think John Oliver said letting Tom Wheeler oversee the broadband companies is kind of like letting a dingo watch your baby, right? Something like that. He compared him to a dingo. Turned out Tom Wheeler, even though he's in the Hall of Fame for the cable companies, the Hall of Fame for the wireless companies, longtime lobbyist for both, in fact, did the right thing and did his best to protect net neutrality. This is a victory for him.
Yeah, and it's what's impressive. I think the cable industry and the telephone industry are a powerful lobby in Washington D.C. Probably one of the most powerful. And what changed the dynamic is the fact that 4 million Americans weighed in with their agency, and the public pressure was so intense that all the lobbying in the world wasn't going to stop them from the agency, taking action. What's kind of ironic of that the John Oliver piece is I just actually saw Tom Wheeler come to San Francisco yesterday to speak at an event, and on the back of his phone, his daughter bought him a sticker that says "I'm not a dingo." He carries that on his cell phone now. He hears what people are saying. He hears the consumer, and he's acted in their interest in a real powerful way.
Actually, I want to give John Oliver a lot of credit because I think that piece he did, which was widely circulated on YouTube, really raised people's awareness of net neutrality.
That's his thing, to get people to know about these really convoluted ththings and kind of distill it down to an understandable,
Part of the problem is that net neutrality is about the worst phrase you could use. It is. Because it's just weird.
It's a little intimidating, too,
I would say it's, anti-discrimination. It's preventing internet service providers from discriminating against any particular kinds of bids. Well, you didn't pay us, Netflix, so we're not going to let you have full access to our customers. And that is obviously wrong, and I think most customers would agree. But the debate is not over, Ernesto. What's the next step?
So as you noted, the telecom companies, they kind of have money to burn in terms of their lawyers. So they'll file an appeal to the Supreme Court. A lot of experts, though, the problem for them is that the reason why they were defeated so handily at the court is because the FCC's legal arguments are very sound. They're sound in the constitutional frame. They're also very sound in how they are relying on Supreme Court doctrine to regulate. It's actually a theory under Brand X, which is an earlier case on this very same issue that they relied on. And the idea that the Supreme Court is going to just suddenly change completely its mind from what it's said in the past is pretty slim. So, the chances of them making it to the Supreme Court is actually fairly low.
But now, and correct me if I'm wrong here, it's my understanding that the FCC really operates at the behest of Congress, and that Congress sets the mandate for what the FCC can and cannot regulate. And one of the reasons this appeal failed and the FCC won is because it's very clear. Congress wrote the Telecommunications Act. They provided it with Title II. One of the reasons people advocated categorizing broadband providers as Title II is because it's so clearly part of the FCC's mandate, and the FCC has the right to regulate Title II. But really, it seems to me that while the Supreme Court probably will uphold this decision, it's going to come down to Congress in the long run, isn't it?
Technically that's always true, right? Congress always has the power and the decision to change the laws as they see fit. Whether you have a majority in the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives to make those types of decisions at this moment, I don't think so. I mean, this issue has been voted on numerous times, not as much as other contentious issues, but it does not have any consensus on how to proceed, and that usually just means Congress will kind of spin its wheels for the most part.
In other words, like most of us users, they're going to choose the default.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you saying that this is really, really good news, that this isn't just one step forward? This may be the whole ball game?
This is historic. This has been a fight that's been happening for close to a decade or more. And this decision really just kind of settles all the arguments. I mean, it's so profound. I mean, one of the ironic moments in Congress, they actually had a hearing on the FCC's privacy rules, which are related to this authority. And all the opponents of the FCC, as they were testifying to Congress, saying, oh, they overstepped their bounds. They don't have the legal authority to have done this. And the decision came out in the middle of the hearing. So you had a lot of, proponents of the FCC point out, like, well, I guess you're wrong, and this is perfectly lawful. They're within their right. The future challenges right now is right now the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans are trying to defund the agency in ways that prevent it from enforcing its net neutrality rulemaking power, and as well as other provisions that are meant to open up the network. And that's probably where the fight really does shift from year to year, because every year Congress has to pass a new budget for these agencies.
Interesting. So you can have a rule, but if we don't have any enforcement capability, what does it matter?
That's right. I mean, the way they would do it is, and what they're doing now. So the House of Representatives now has a bill that they're moving that says the FCC can't spend any federal dollars enforcing net neutrality. And then the United States Senate right now has a provision that says the FCC can't open up the cable set-top box market, which is related to net neutrality. Yeah. It's related in the sense that, you have a right to connect your own, any cable modem you want. You have a right to connect anything to the broadband network. And the cable, television network in a way is more related nowadays than ever. And so it's just about opening up those networks and giving innovators the opportunity to build and connect whatever they feel like, as long as it doesn't harm the network.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the cable companies say things like, well, that set-top box is really what we offer. That's our product, is showing you the channels you want,
Right.
promoting the highlights. And if you take that away from us, well, we're just a bit provider, which is something they've apparently never wanted to be in the first place. Well, we'll watch that one with great interest too. And I think the EFF is really on the side of the angels in all of this. EFF.org. I'm proud to be a monthly contributor, a monthly supporter. And I always go to EFF.org/action to find out what the latest fight is, and to help support the EFF by writing to my Congress critter. And this page is a great place to go to find out what the campaigns are and what you can do to help. Patent trolls, the current topic du jour. It's Ernesto, thank you so much for joining us and giving us the good news that so far we're winning.
Thank you for your time, and I appreciate the shout out for the organization.
Yeah.
Definitely, everyone should reach out to their members of Congress, their member of the House, and the 2 senators regularly, because that helps us do our job defending your rights.
Well, isn't that in some ways the moral of this whole story is those petitions, that action that we told everybody, go sign the petition, write your member of Congress. Those things do make a difference.
They do.
Yep. Absolutely. 4 million people couldn't be denied at the end of this.
Yeah. 4 million, that's not a lot.
People.
But it's a fraction.
Yeah.
It's less than 1% of the population. And that just shows you, as geeks, even if we're a minority, if we really stand up for this stuff and we shout out loud what we want, we can really sway the members of Congress, the courts, and the commissions to do the right thing. Thank you, Ernesto. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
All right, take care. That's Ernesto Omar Falcon from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. He's a legislative counsel there. All right, Flo. Now, I know you're all about Android.
I am all about Android.
You're all about Android. Did you watch at all what happened at the Apple event this week?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was heads down working on my OnePlus 3 review. But,
zero interest.
Well, usually I will go on Twitter and I'll make some, snarky remarks about what's going on, and I kind of got a couple in. I took some breaks and I got a couple in on Twitter.
Well, like an example.
This wasn't actually part of the keynote, but I found out later that Apple's allowing iOS users to disable the apps that Apple is including in their iPhones.
Not uninstall. It looks like uninstall.
Yeah, I thought it was uninstall at first, and then when I learned everybody has to deal with the same thing as Android users, I was like, now you understand our pain.
So for a long time, I'll give you an example, the Stocks app on the Apple
Everybody always makes fun
iPhone.
of the Stocks app.
I know, the poor Stocks app, but the weather app, I don't need it. Anyway, you wish you could uninstall it, but all Apple users could do is move it to a folder.
Not gonna use.
Dopey apps
Don't
I'll never
open.
use. And put that in the last page of their Springboard. But now you can press, hold, jiggle, 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 press the X.
Yes.
You know, I think it's a minor detail that it doesn't actually uninstall it. It does the same thing as on Android.
You don't get the megabytes back, you know, the megabytes.
But the problem is it's built into the operating system.
Right.
So they're not going to take a chunk out of the operating system.
Understandable, right.
So on Android, it's the same thing when you disable an app. It takes off any data, any additional downloads, and just hides it from your eyes. That's fine. That's better than nothing.
Very true. Very true.
And it's a weird thing that here we are 9, almost 10 years into the iPhone era, and they finally got around to this.
It's been that long.
Amazing.
I can't believe.
They did announce, and I actually have I'm curious about this. They did announce that they're going to really beef up Apple's Messages program, iMessages, to add features that have been part of competing messengers for some time, including, 3 times larger emojis, stickers, animated GIFs. They're going to have, I love this feature. Can you do this on Android with any particular keyboard? You type something and then you press a button and it replaces words with emojis.
No, that's like a Slack thing. That's what I think of.
Yeah, it's like a Slacker thing. But if you want to be hip, I really feel like this is really not for kids. This is for parents.
Oh, yes.
This is an adult. This is for
my dad would have used this.
Yeah, this is a dad feature for sure.
My dad loves emojis, so he's totally into this.
Another dad feature, invisible ink. So I could say, happy birthday, darling, and guess what? Next message, and I can do it in invisible ink. I bought you a new car. And then all she sees is twinkle, twinkle.
Dad.
I know, I'm a generous dad. Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. But then she swipes her fingers over it and it reveals this. And I'm sure she goes, ah!
Finally. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's a dad feature.
Yes.
Yes. There it is. There's the twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. I've missed you so much. What a surprise. So,
it's kind of nice the way it did that, the little reveal.
Well, look, Apple's good at aesthetics.
I've missed you so
Apple's good at aesthetics. Hidden
very
picture.
True.
Swipe the fairy dust, and it's a ring.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, we're engaged. We're engaged. So you want this?
I did the same thing. It's
yeah,
okay.
you want this, right? But Apple did not announce that this is going to be on Android or any way compatible with Android. This is for people who use iPhones.
I know. My friends are still going to yell at me.
Because you're a green bubble.
I am Florence Green Bubble Ion to them.
Now, I should point out that many messaging apps work cross-platform.
Very
true.
What
a concept.
Yes.
WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger.
Hangouts.
So you don't have to be stuck, even if you're an iPhone user, in Apple's messages. Well, maybe you do, because if you want to use SMS, the carrier's text messaging, the only way to do it is this way, right?
Yep.
But of course, if you handwrite thank you in SMS, I don't know what you're going to get on the other end. Green Bubble Land's not going to see anything. So, you know what I did? And this is one of the things I am really thrilled about Android.
Yes.
Android allows you to use other applications as your default messaging app. Unlike Apple, you could do that. And Facebook this week announced that they were going to support SMS messaging.
Right.
And so that means I made my default messenger my Facebook Messenger, which has all of the features of Facebook Messenger, the thumbs up, it has graphics, animated GIFs, and I can do that with everybody. Now, if it's an SMS user, they're not going to get the Facebook thumb up. They'll get an emoji or something
Which works.
like that. Which is fine.
Which is fine.
Which is fine. So Apple playing catch up a little bit here.
They were. I thought during the keynote, at least for the mobile announcements, they sounded a lot like lots of parallels to what we heard at I/O keynote.
Apple's Photos basically catching up to Google Photos.
Absolutely, because Google Photos got so popular on iOS.
Yeah. Now, here's one thing Apple's doing that is different, and I think this is very interesting. Differential privacy. The idea, now Google and Facebook, for that matter, are very clear. We're willing to steal your information and borrow, snoop. I don't know, what's the word? What's a non-offensive word?
You give me a little bit of something, I give you a little bit back. That's the idea,
you give me some of your information.
Exactly, and we'll give you some cards.
Give you some
a location-based card.
Apple doesn't want to do that. They really want to position themselves as the privacy company.
After that whole FBI fiasco, I would.
Well, you might dispute.
I would do that too.
You might dispute. But they say we're not going to profile, and this is the interesting thing.
Yeah.
We're going to do the stuff we do that Google does in Photos on server side. We're going to do it in the phone. All the work will be done in our phone. We have such a powerful processor, we don't have to do it server side.
Shoot, Google, you're going to have to change some things.
Maybe. Do you think that? So let me ask you, as a Google user, is that a compelling argument?
I think there are a lot of people who are concerned about that. For me, I mean, I've sort of resigned myself to what Android gives me. I'm very happy with that, and I understand what I'm getting into.
Right.
But I feel like there are a lot of users out there who want a little more transparency and to sort of know what's being done with this data. And I think that's a really great, like, middle ground.
I have a bumper sticker that says, let go and let Google.
Really?
Yeah, because forget it. It's over. Might as well just give it all to them. And then Apple says, well, so we're going to do a lot of it on device.
Right.
And then with differential privacy, we can collect data in aggregate on all our users without in any way risking...
And making anonymous on
we'll
their
anonymize
end.
it. Now, as we've learned about anonymizing, it's a tough thing to do. Netflix, remember, gave away a bunch of data, and people were very easily able to find out.
I know. Our password keeps getting reset.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So Apple is using basically university research, this differential privacy stuff. Matthew Green, we love Matthew Green. He's a cryptographer at Johns Hopkins, wrote a great blog piece if you want to kind of dig deep into this. He says differential privacy works. He explains how it works. He also says it very much depends on implementation. We'll have to see. The devil's in the details. Lots of stuff. We're going to talk more about what happened at WWDC. God, what a week. Real quickly, E3. Are you a gamer?
I was.
Console gamer?
In a past lifetime.
Microsoft announced a new Xbox One. The Slim. Sleeker, slimmer, sharper.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, it's 40% smaller. The Power Brick, which on my Xbox One is the size of a lunchbox, is now inside, so it doesn't have a big Power Brick.
Finally.
These things happen, though, over time.
Here's
the big thing for me is that slot on the top there. That's going to be a UHD Blu-ray player that will play the new standard of Blu-rays, 4K, HDR. That's, to me, very exciting. I talked with our home theater guru, Scott Wilkinson, today. Specs are skinny right now, but we believe that will be the equivalent of the UHD Blu-ray players that is currently being sold by Panasonic and Samsung for a lot more money. The $299 500 gigabyte version will be the lowest cost Ultra HD Blu-ray player out there. So just for the player alone, that might be a good deal. They did say end of August for the $399 version, the $299 version with a smaller hard drive sometime later.
Wow, that's soon.
Yeah,
that's really
end of August.
Soon.
Yeah.
You expect usually this stuff will get announced, you have to wait a little bit of while, get a lot of hype, but this is going to be available really soon.
Well, and here's the weird thing Microsoft did. They also announced that next year they're going to do Project Scorpio, which will be 4K gaming and virtual reality.
Which is the hot thing right now. Everything is VR enabled, right? If you don't have VR attached, what are you marketing?
I am waiting for the PlayStation VR. That's the one I want. We played with it on our triangulation episode about a month ago. Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Do you have a PS4?
I do not.
Okay, but see, I don't either, but this was an opportunity. I have a PS3. I'm going to upgrade because you get the PS4, the camera, you get the Move controllers, you get the visor. It's still less than an Oculus Rift and a high-end PC or a HTC Vive. It's still a lot less. And they're going to have, they say, 50 titles by the end of the year.
Of course, they've got all those partnerships with the different publishing companies.
I think that's going to be interesting.
That's a great selling point.
The date now, they gave this out at E3, October 13th. The price, $399.
It's not too far either.
And you'll have to have the additional PlayStation camera, which is about $60. They're going to sell different packages for people who don't have moves.
I wonder what Costco will sell. I'm looking forward to that one.
There were a lot of games announced. I'll tell you what, we're going to let Father Robert and Bryan Burnett tell you about that, the rest, the colorful, pretty stuff at E3 in just, well, right now. How about now? Would now be a good time?
Let's do it.
All right, and we'll get to our call for help in a bit. Father Robert?
Thanks, Leo. I'm here with Bryan Burnett at E3. We're in the Square Enix booth where they took the wraps off of Final Fantasy 15. A big crowd, but of course, there's been a lot of announcements here. Bryan, let's go back and forth. Probably the game I am most interested in right now is Sea of Thieves. It was over in the Microsoft booth. It was created by Rage, and it's this new style of co-op. So the whole idea is people have different tasks that you need to accomplish in order to have the team succeed. It's a new idea in co-op, and I, for one, am really looking forward to playing. What about you?
I really like that game. The only point I will make is that the reason I'm excited about it is that when you were talking to the developer, his idea was giving the players the tools in this environment, and he was just, like, you could see the emotion of, like, I just want to see what people do. Like, I want to see how they interact. And I think that's why I enjoyed that game a lot. Actually, the game that I started watching the most was at the indie games, and it was called Interverses. Right. And it's just two little dots fighting each other, but it was 4-player co-op, and it was just like, I probably watched that more than some of the other games that were here.
Now, of course, we've seen the blockbuster. We've seen Battlefield. We've seen Halo Wars 2, which looks absolutely spectacular. We've seen Injustice. And, of course, LEGO Dimensions, which it's got a special place in my heart. Yeah. But, you know, one of the things that I've seen is, like you, I like the indie games. I like this one called Cuphead, which I like to think of as Steamboat Willie meets R-Type. It's a weird shoot-'em-up that uses some retroactive graphics with some crazy animation. But the thing that I really want to talk about is the hardware, because that has impressed me more than anything else. The very first thing we saw today was Razer, and Razer has their Blade Stealth along with their core. We saw it at CES, but now it's ready for prime time. A $1,000 Ultrabook, a $500 system that allows you to connect a full-size desktop graphics card. That was absolutely killer. I think that's the must-buy.
They do such a good job with LEDs. Everything is very colorful, so obviously that catches the eye. But even the attention to detail on the Stealth box, it looked like its own little PC. Yep. Like, it had a really nice little case and everything, and people were just enjoying playing Overwatch. Ran fantastic on those little PCs.
Speaking of running fantastic, the other thing that I saw that has sort of the maker DIYer inside of me very excited is Samsung with the Vulkan. The idea of having a dedicated GPU that throttles down the CPU and a new API instead of OpenGL. That means that developers now have access to much more hardware, which means we get to see much cooler software on mobile devices.
Cooler software on mobile devices, better optimization, so better battery life. The part that I liked the most about Samsung was watching the people on the roller coaster. Having people scream out with just the goggles on.
Well, Leo, we're going to send it back to you. We're going to continue to tour through E3, giving you the absolute best. Don't forget to check it out at the Twitch specials. Until then, back to the screensavers.
Thank you, Bryan Burnett, Father Robert Ballecer. You can catch them on Know How twice a week on our Twit network, and Father Robert also does this week in Enterprise Tech. Vulkan, that's good news for Android people.
It is. It's on regular Android as well, but Samsung's really pushing the marketing on that, really trying to push like the gaming capabilities of the Galaxy devices.
For people who are maybe don't know what it is, it's like DirectX on Windows.
That's a great comparison, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a kind of designed for game developers to do kind of almost bare to the metal, the best graphics. Did they mention what kind of graphics? Do you need an Adreno 530? What do you need to run Vulkan? Or does it matter?
I think it's just the latest,
whatever you got.
The latest CPU. That's Snapdragon 820 and above. I mean, it's on the Galaxy S7, so anybody who has that in their hand is already have it equipped. It's just we're waiting for the games to come out.
So I have my S7 here. I'm just waiting.
Yeah. And Android N will take advantage of it as well.
Right. Oh, good. So it's just there. It's not something I have to do.
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
It'll come with the next update. For
and this, by the way, I'm sorry to say, it's not available. Apple has not. It's not on the iPhone. Apple has not embraced.
No, but Apple's
Vulkan.
done their own gaming things.
They have their own bare metal things called metal.
Yeah.
So, all right. And also, I just want to mention Cuphead.
You were very excited when they mentioned that.
I am excited about Cuphead, but I also remember. Then I thought, wait a minute. Didn't they announce this at E3 2015 a year ago? Yes, they did.
It happens.
So this is one of the things that happens at E3. It's like, oh yeah, we're still working on that game. Don't worry.
Game development.
They take a long time.
It does take a long time.
So is Cuphead Duke Nukem forever? Or anyway, they say, yeah, I love this. Don't you love this idea?
I really love the animation of this. This is the first time I'm seeing this, by the way, and now I really want to play this.
Yeah, well, sometime they say this year, sometime. We're going to talk about WWDC, to be fair. One of the things that Apple announced that's a really kind of a deep feature is a new file system, which doesn't happen much. They've been using HFS for 18 years, something like that. And it's been, frankly, getting a little clunky and old. So the fact that they announced a new file system is interesting, but we thought we better bring in an expert so we understand this properly. Aaron Hillegass from Big Nerd Ranch will join us in just a second. Stay right here. Florence Ion is my co-host for today's News Screensaver. So nice to have you.
So great to be here.
Your OnePlus 3 review. I
can't wait to get to it.
Well, I'm waiting. Can I say I already ordered it? But I think if you tell me not to, I can if you tell me to, I can cancel it. Okay? But just I got to find out any minute now. But first, a word from Wealthfront. See, I'm investing my money, I think, in a long-term hold, which is Android phones. I think there's a real, no. All right, maybe I ought to put some money in a savings account. I hope you're putting money in a savings account. The rainy day fund, the college fund, the retirement fund. Wealthfront is the right way to invest those long-term investments. It's not day trading. It might even look like day trading to you, because unlike going to an advisor and paying 1%, 2%, or 3% a year for their wisdom, they're so smart. Why are they still sitting in a shopping mall telling people how to buy stock for 1%, 2%, or 3% a year? You're not doing that. You're not paying anywhere near that. And instead of getting some guy in a strip mall, you're getting the best brains in investing. People like Burton Malkiel, who wrote Random Walk Down Wall Street, a book I read when I was starting to do my investing, thinking, I need to understand this. And Charles D. Ellis is Winning the Loser's Game. These guys are on the board. They help design the software that runs Wealthfront. And that's the key with Wealthfront. You are not using a human advisor. You are using software to monitor your investments, not every quarter, every month, every week, but minute by minute, to maximize the return, to do tax loss harvesting, to minimize your tax bill. This is the right way to do it. And man, the results show. They've got now $3 billion in client assets under management. Oh, did I say this? Not 1%, 2%, 3% a year plus hidden charges and transaction fees. 1/4% a year with no other fees, no transaction fees, nothing else. And you can get started for as little as $500. But I'm not telling you to go and invest. I'm telling you to go to wealthfront.com/NSS to find out about it, to read up on it, to see how their performance has been, and to take advantage of some free offers. When you go there, the first thing they're going to do is show you the questions they ask all new investors so that they can tailor the investment to you. And it's just a few questions. They're going to ask you about your time frame and how you feel about risk. And then they'll generate a sample portfolio. You're welcome to use that. That's absolutely free. This is what they would start investing in for you based on your answers to those questions. The other thing they'll do is they'll take a look at your current investments and tell you how much money you're spending, maybe wasting, on management fees and transaction fees. It's an eye-opener. So at least take advantage of these free offers. Wealthfront.com/NSS. Oh, one more thing. If you do decide to invest, your first $15,000 free of charge forever. So that is a great way to start that nest egg. But you've got to go to wealthfront.com/NSS. Like so many businesses we know today, this is how the internet's answer to overpriced, under-effective wealth advisors. And by the way, I've seen articles in the Wall Street Journal. Stockbrokers hate Wealthfront. They hate it. Wealthfront.com/NSS. That's all right. I'll sell you later on this. Okay. You're young. You know what? When you're young, you should start now. Now's the time. I know. I did the same thing when I was your age. If I had any extra, I'd invest it, right? You live paycheck to paycheck. Just a little bit now. I feel like my father. Just put a little away every week. You'll see, it'll grow. All right, never mind.
One can hope.
I turned into that guy. When did that happen? We are very excited to have my friend Aaron Hillegass, the guy with the big-ass cowboy hat here. He's from Big Nerd Ranch. Where's your hat?
I have my hat, but I'm wearing my big cans on my ears, so I can't wear it at the same time.
You were out for WWDC. Hello, Aaron. Welcome.
Leo, it's a pleasure. I can't believe I get invited to talk about the file system.
Well, what did you want to talk about, man? Come on, you're the geek.
It's a big story.
Well, the exciting thing, right, is the Siri SDK.
Okay. You can start with that.
The capacities of Siri is really exciting. I think a lot of the user interfaces are moving towards a natural speech approach. And we see things like Alexa from Amazon and the Google Home and now Siri. And making Siri extensible is really exciting to the developer population.
Well, it's, by the way, long time coming. I mean, when they bought Siri 4 or 5 years ago, I could book reservations at a restaurant with it using OpenTable, and they took that out. So I'm really excited that they're putting some of the capabilities back in, but much more important that they're letting developers access this. Does this mean that, how would this work? You write an iPhone app, and then it has hooks to Siri?
That's exactly right. I believe that's the approach. I haven't actually done it, and I can't actually talk about it, but...
thanks for bringing it up.
But
NDAs.
file systems,
No, stop. No. So actually, I might have said it wrong. You install your app, and then Siri has hooks to you, not you have hooks to Siri. Is that right?
That's right. I think that people will address their questions to particular apps, and they'll be able to take it over. That's how Alexa is doing it, right? That you have a description and you say, tell Uber to send me a car, for example.
Well, and it's kind of what Google showed, didn't it, at Google I/O, is the idea that, and I like this idea, that with Allo at least, and maybe with Google Now as well, that instead of opening the interface, opening an app, doing something in the app, it will intermediate for you.
Right. It was kind of an evolution, I thought, of Google Now on tap. Like we're sort of seeing that next step evolution. I am incredibly happy about the things that are coming out. So, I mean, I have to be honest, when I heard about Siri, I was like, finally, Apple.
Right.
Yeah.
Siri
way to
on the
catch
Mac,
up. Even
that's exciting
Microsoft's beat you to the punch with Cortana, which...
Well, the fact that all three are working on this tells me something. And, obviously, Apple's not copying Google here. This is something that's been in development.
Not at all.
Well, maybe a little bit, but what excites me about this, Aaron, is the idea that this is kind of the post-app era. That the days of if you wanted to add a capability to your smartphone, find the app, download the app, install the app, run the app, are going to be replaced by Siri, Google Now, Cortana, Echo, intermediating for you. So you'll talk to them, and they'll find the app and do the thing you want to do.
That's right. And it'll be an opportunity for all of us to take our faces out of the phone and look around.
No, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
Those days are gone. Now you sound like an old man, too, Aaron.
I thought that's really interesting, actually, what you just said, the post-app era, because a couple of years ago, we were dealing with the post-PC era in ushering in all these like smartphones and mobile devices, and now we're trying to find a way to move beyond the mobile devices that we have in our hands.
Right.
It's very interesting, evolution of technology.
I'm just thinking, what would I like? And what I would like is HAL 9000, except for the part about closing the pod bay doors and not opening them. But what I want is an environment that responds to my needs, kind of automatically understands what I'm asking and does it on my behalf. I don't want to have to. And I think, to be fair, and I think you're right, I think ultimately we won't be doing this all the time, unless we really want to. What we'll really be doing is interacting with our environment using voice, gestures, maybe hands.
I wanted to emotionally, to understand where I am emotionally, to understand that I'm freaking out, I'm in traffic, I need to be somewhere, and I'm asking very angrily, will you please get me directions, the right route?
Or,
and it just knows.
Here's the real end game, you don't ask it at all.
It just reads your, it can feel the
I see your heart rate going up. Yeah, I see your heart rate going up. I can tell where you're going. This might be a better way. It's going to be okay,
down
Florence.
Also.
And let me play it.
Remember your breathing exercises.
Exactly. I don't think that's that far off. I think what's happening is machine learning. Now, Apple is in an interesting position, as we talked about. I don't know if you heard us earlier talking about differential privacy, and Apple not wanting to mine its users' data, because that's the kind of information about your user that you really want to do this effectively. How does Apple balance security, privacy, and machine learning, Aaron?
Oh, it's always really tricky, but as far as I know, Apple has always been really serious about privacy. I think one of the funny things about the FBI case is that one of the reasons why the iPhone became so secure is Apple was trying to get okayed to sell their phones to government people. And their first question was, well, if one of our government employees leaves this phone on a bus, can somebody break into it and get the data out? And Apple said, no, we've made it so you can't do that. And then the FBI came and said, we have this phone from somebody, and we kind of like the data off of it. And Apple said, yeah, we still can't do that.
Yeah, that's a really good. That's a really good way of putting it. Although I have to note that President Obama is not carrying an iPhone.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to troll and say that he has a Samsung phone.
It's a Galaxy S4.
Yes,
let's be fair.
But Knox is...
Well, right, and Knox has been approved for government use.
BlackBerry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just left BlackBerry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, can't.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we get to the file system?
Now we can talk about the file system. But the file system is like the sewer system, right? It's really hard to get it up and working, and then nobody thinks about it until it fails.
It's really essential.
And so that's how it works.
Yeah, and when it fails big.
Yeah, and then it's very smelly and disgusting.
Yes, exactly. So you said HFS has been in production for 18 years. That's actually HFS Plus. If we go back to the original HFS, we're talking 30 years.
Right.
So it was written in 1985.
Yeah. Wow.
And, it was an era of floppy disks and 30 megabyte hard drives. So it is really starting to get old.
What's wrong with HFS Plus that they're going to fix with this new system, the APFS?
Right. So there's sort of two different things. The first thing is the world has changed. We have more and more SSD drives, so we don't have to think about sectors and where's the read head and trying to optimize that. So we can take advantage of the performance of an SSD drive. Things are much bigger, so you can get a 10 terabyte hard drive for under $800 now. That's kind of amazing, right? So we need to start thinking about more and more what they call inodes. So the tree of files are kept on the hard drive in what's called inodes, and we number them. And in HFS, there were 16-bit numbers, and in HFS Plus, it was 32-bit numbers, and now in the new file system, it'll be 64-bit inode numbers. So we can have up to 9 quintillion files on a single volume.
No one will ever, I'm going to be the one to say it, no one will ever need more than that many files.
9 quintillion
9
files.
quintillion files. But it also means bigger hard drives, right?
Right. Being able to address bigger and bigger hard drives, bigger files, and more files on a hard drive.
And speaking to what you were talking about earlier, it does encryption better. Right now we have File Vault, which does do whole disk encryption.
Right.
But this is
on
good.
The iPhone, you can do, it's more of a per file encryption with a different key for each file. The metadata is encrypted separately. It's a more secure, more flexible way. And they're really bringing that to this new file system.
We should point out that is one of the things that's unusual about APFS. It's on all Apple platforms. This is not just for your desktop, your laptop. It's for your phone, it's for your tablet, it's for your Apple TV as well. This will be the file system on all Apple hardware.
Right. So what I said was there's two things. There's that the world has changed. There's also that we've done a lot of research. We've learned a lot about file systems. Right. Even though they're not very sexy, we are getting smarter. And so we can now make the file systems more reliable so that if you pour coffee on your laptop, when you take that hard drive out and restart it, it actually is in a reasonable state. We can get higher performance and also more security through this encryption stuff. Snapshots, being able to do real snapshots.
I'm so excited about snapshots. That shows what a nerd I am. But there was a rumor a few years ago that Apple was going to adopt ZFS, the Solaris file system, which has this really exciting feature. The operating system, as it runs, can do snapshots that can be restored of your file system, of your situation, of your files. So it has this built-in kind of automatic recovery that I think everybody would want if they knew how it worked. People sometimes say, oh, well, but wait, I have my time machine that does versioning and everything. But what people don't know, and I'm sure Aaron will be glad to tell us, is the time machine is a horrible kludge under the hood.
Yes, it's mostly duct tape and wire tie.
It's a simulation of snapshots, but it's using hard links. I mean, it's awful.
When we all saw the keynote, we thought, wow, they added snapshots to the file system. How'd they do that?
Right.
Because ZFS had just announced it. And when everybody figured out how it was really done, we're kind of like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Isn't this something that was in Windows 7 and is sort of something that, I mean...
You're talking about shadow copy. I am not an expert on how Windows 7 does this, but I think this is a step beyond shadow copy in Windows. Because you can have snapshots of the drive, snapshots of individual files. They're made automatically. Do they take a lot of space? I mean, is this going to suddenly start, I'm going to have all this extra space? In other words, it's like Time Machine without a separate drive, right?
Right. It's a journaling file system, so it shouldn't take up extra space, but as those pages get old, maybe it will start reclaiming them, is how I would imagine it.
It's one of those things where it just works in the background. You don't have to think about it. So better handling.
But you can imagine how nice it will be to install a piece of software, and if it's really awful, it does terrible things to your kernel, I don't even know.
Yeah.
To be able to say, oh, no, let's back it up.
Yeah. This is what people with ZFS do, and they wonder how the rest of us survive in our primitive 1980s style file systems, because it's, oh, well, you just roll it back. You can't do that? So I'm very excited. Now, this isn't going to happen this fall.
No. So they shipped it out on a developer pre-release with a lot of limitations. So You can't use it as your startup drive. It is case sensitive only, and Time Machine doesn't work with it, and File Vault doesn't work with it, and you can't use it with the Fusion drive.
So you don't want to use it right now, except on an extra drive just to take a look at it.
Right. So I've been using it on an extra drive, and setting it all up is all on the command line. And whenever you do anything with disk-util and the Apple file system, there is a flag you have to provide, which is I understand that AFS is pre-release software and data loss may occur. It's instead of like just dash like S for silent, you have to write in a whole novel to explain just how deeply you understand how dangerous this is.
And there's many a slip twixt the cup and the lip, but if all goes well, we'll see this on all Apple systems next year sometime. Right,
and this is such a great opportunity for the developer community to start testing it.
Yeah, bang on it. Was there anything else at WWDC? Now that we thank you for covering the file system, I'm sorry I made you do that. Is there?
It was important.
I'm excited.
File systems are antiquated. This is new. This is good.
It reminds me of for years with prior to OS 10, where we were suffering with the just horrible memory management in System 7 and OS 9. But nobody, no user knew about that, but anybody who ever developed for the Mac said, why are we using this ancient system? I feel like we're kind of in that boat right now.
Linus Torvalds has said that HFS may be the worst file system ever created.
Okay.
Well,
and there's some really bad ones to choose from, you know. I mean, so that's okay. Thank you, Linus. Anything else you're excited about?
You know, it's a really small thing, but copy and paste between my phone and my Mac.
That's cool, isn't it?
I am always copying stuff and wishing I could just get it onto my Mac. And sometimes I do the stupid thing, which is actually emailing it to myself. And being able to share the pasteboard is actually really nifty.
BigNerdRanch.com. They develop, they teach, they write. They're in Atlanta, but they have satellites everywhere.
Books.
Hey, look at the new book. Show the book. Wait a minute. Show the book.
So I had a whole bunch of books here because usually I come to your studio and I can't
know. Where's my
carry them all.
book on Swift?
So I've got Swift.
Yeah.
I've got your Cocoa book. This is for
I get this
developing on the
every year.
desktop.
Every year I get the new one. Yep.
Yeah. This is your iOS development
That's
book.
an excellent one.
All in Swift.
We had Zach here in studio the other day. Really great guy. Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Android programming.
programming.
Fans. Woo. And if you're feeling like going back to Objective-C, this is a great book on Objective-C. I know it's not the cool new stuff anymore.
It's like riding a tricycle instead of a 10-speed, but...
You got to start somewhere.
Actually, are you excited about the new app they announced for the iPad, the Swift Playgrounds app? That looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really fun, especially for the K through 12 market.
Yeah.
They have a lot of iPads in schools.
Yeah.
I really like programming on a desktop, but I can see for certain populations that's really convenient.
You might learn on an iPad. Eventually, you're going to need a keyboard.
It's the starter.
Yeah.
It's kind of a basic for programming. Right. Programming, let's face it, is just typing.
Right. So come on out to Big Nerd Ranch.
Hotlanta, they'll come to you too. They'll come to you too.
We do corporate training, and we also teach in Monterey, California.
BigNerdRanch.com. Thank you, Aaron. I'm sorry we missed you this week, but I'm glad we could talk via Skype.
Thank you, Leah. Have a good day.
Take care. This is a geeky show. We're getting
It's making me realize that I'm really missing out on like the world of desktops and computers because I'm just so embedded in mobile.
Well, I don't think you're alone. I think this has become, for most people, this is their computer.
This is my primary computer.
Yeah, that's a Samsung tablet.
Yeah, the Tab S2.
And that's Android.
Yep.
Are you excited about Chrome on Android on Chrome?
I am. I am really excited because I want to get rid of my MacBook Air and I want something that it has all my Google stuff tied into it.
Right.
That's all I want.
Once you add all those Android apps, there's very little you can't do.
Which I own so many over the years. So I'm ready for you, Chromebooks.
Well, the next big Android thing may be here. Can I be wooed away from my Galaxy S7? Flo will have the details for us in just a moment. But first, let's do a little bit of a thing we call Call for Help. On the line from New York, Greg. Hello, Greg.
Hey, Leo. Hey, Flo.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Now, this is a man cave.
I know.
That's my office.
Holy cow.
That's your office.
Yeah.
You got a pool table and a drill press.
So,
what more could anybody ask for? Holy cow.
I have an entire list. So.
What do you do? What do you do for a living?
I do computer support for commercial and residential customers. This is my residential shop.
Look at all these.
That's his residential shop. What does your commercial shop look like?
Well, my commercial shop is usually on site, so it's.
And is
whatever
this your
like,
company? Kiss It? Is that the company?
Yes. Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
It's a good
So,
name. You'll love them so much you'll want to kiss it.
Oh, does it mean keep it simple, stupid IT?
Well, keep it simple solutions. but
Sorry.
I can't call customers.
That's what we put in yearbooks in high school.
Kiss, yeah. So what can we?
Keep it simple. Technology. Don't make it hard.
Silly.
That's what our clients like.
Yeah.
When we get hired by clients, that's one of our biggest selling points is we keep things simple. Clients can overcomplicate things so much that we tell them to take a step back sometimes and look, let's just, do the ABCs first and then
breathing
learn
exercises.
to walk and then the rest of the stuff.
You know what I hate, and I'm guilty of this too, but tech guys who use big words and try to baffle.
Oh my gosh.
Like show off by
That drives me nuts. I know what you're talking about. You don't need to use so many big words. I know what you need to fix. Take my money and fix it, please.
BS. So what can we do for you, Greg? I mean, you're the tech guy. I should be calling you. What can we do for you?
Well, so the problem I have is fairly simple one. I have an addiction to smartphones. I buy phones as often as I buy pants.
No one here knows what that's like.
I have no idea what that's like.
No idea what he's talking about.
I just ordered the OnePlus 3. I bought a Galaxy S7 2 weeks ago, which I have now.
Oh, you have a problem, my friend.
6P, you name it. I tell myself I don't want it, and then they convince me that I do want it. So
they're getting so much cheaper. What are you going to do? They're like Pokemon.
They do. It's a write-off for me. So
hey, here's the good news. The Note 6 will be out any day now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But
my
biggest problem is I have multiple phones, and any given day I want to take a certain phone with me just because of certain features, size, what it has. And I have one SIM card that I bounce back and forth between the phones, but everything else transfers over no problem on the fly, except for my text messages, specifically SMS. Trying to move in the conversations because a lot of times clients will text me and I'm trying to remember what they told me so I can give them the proper answer.
Right.
And that answer might be on my other phone, which is, 30 miles away somewhere. So I'd like to be able to carry all my text messages without having to do a backup program every single time I want to move text messages over. So.
Well, I have kind of some good news and bad news for you. The good news is you can do all that with Google Hangouts. The bad news is you have to use Google Hangouts.
Yeah, I know. I tried to avoid it. It's so
I know it's super slow and buggy, but it keeps everything for you in one place. It makes it really easy. You just have all your SMS and Hangouts in one place. If you use Google Voice, that will do the same thing, but then you have to use the antiquated Google Voice app.
Even then, I think they want to move you to Hangouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I love Google Voice. And for people like us, having 5 phones ring with the same number really is a lifesaver, right? And if you then give your clients if you then give your clients, instead of your individual phone numbers, your Google Voice number, they send texts to your Google Voice number, and that will go to all 5 phones.
Right.
So you don't, and actually at that point you don't have to use Hangouts. You could use the messaging app on the phone.
That's very true.
It's going to get that text message, all 5 of them. I have another solution. So that's one way, and I do that, and actually I ended up using Hangouts. But at the beginning of the show, I mentioned that what's nice about Android is you can use any number of programs, including WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, as your SMS program. So if you want to use Hangouts or another messaging program, as long as it supports group messaging, here's a weird one. But what you could do is add all the phones to the group. So you start a group message on your main phone, and then you send a text to the other phones in the group and add them to the group. And now any message to any of those phones will get in that one group message thread on all the phones. Does that make sense?
Okay. It does.
So I know people who do this. It's kind of weird because it's like you're talking to yourself sometimes, but it can be very handy. That's another way, and that would let you use anything, not just Hangouts and Google Voice, but any variety of numbers. So WhatsApp would support that. Facebook supports that. A lot of messaging programs will support group messaging. So that's another way to do it.
Or if you want to check out 2 other apps that I would suggest, just looking at, maybe read some reviews on Mighty Text
Love Mighty
which
Text.
I use to send text
Love Mighty
messages
Text.
from my tablet because I don't want to take my phone out of my or from downstairs or whatever, or Push Bullet. But Push Bullet will require a $5 a month subscription if you want all that in the cloud.
I used Push Bullet for a long time. I feel like over time they're getting weirder and different, and I don't know what
to be
the
fair,
future...
I haven't used it since they went subscription.
Yeah.
So I'm going purely based off of user feedback that I've gotten. So
yeah, there's Push Bullet, and it the idea of Push Bullet is really to tie your phone to your desktop. So notifications from your phone go to your desktop, vice versa. You can cut and paste between your desktop and your phone. It's interesting. I feel like it's overcomplicated lately anyway.
It might be
Mighty Text I used for years before Push Bullet.
Yeah, I love Mighty Text.
I do love the idea of being able to use a desktop and I bet you would too, Greg, because you spend a lot of time on your desktop, and to be able to see those threads.
Yeah. It's so much easier to type.
In fact, a lot of times I'll have a messaging session go and I'll move over to my desktop.
Especially a serious conversation.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, you don't want to type on your keyboard.
Yeah.
Now, that is, by the way, an advantage. Facebook Messenger has a web-based interface, m.me/your name. So you can do that. WhatsApp now has a desktop application for it. A lot of these messengers now are offering desktop applications. Hangouts does. I continue to use Hangouts because Hangouts will pop up and notify me on my desktop, and I like that.
And
too.
all your phones at the same time will buzz, and your smartwatch and everything.
That's a
that happens to me every single day at work.
Yeah. I have a little birdie sound for my Facebook Messenger, and Lisa, it bugs the cats and Lisa both, my wife, because it's just tweeting all the time. And she's not real crazy about that, so just maybe don't do that.
Buzzing is disruptive. What are you going to do?
Facebook Messenger has the pop.
Clients look at me weird as it is. So.
Lisa, would you prefer that? No? Okay, just checking. Anyway, Greg, so there's a couple of ways to do that. I think this is this is probably not, you're probably not the only one who has this affliction. I must have the latest and greatest phone affliction.
Yeah, and you know, Galaxy S7 has the great camera. You know, you gotta.
They talk me into it. I'm a sucker. What can I say?
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. So I'm loving the Galaxy S7. It has survived months as my daily driver. Great screen, best screen in the market.
Yep.
Great camera, arguably the best camera on the market. It's fast. The 820 is a great processor.
Yep.
But I too ordered the OnePlus 3.
I just ordered that last week as soon as it came out.
We're going to find out in a minute. Stay tuned, because we're going to find out in a minute whether we made a mistake or not, Greg. Hey, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. Great to talk to you.
Greg.
Kiss IT. Kiss. What's the website?
Kissit.us.
Kissit.us, and that's for what region?
Upstate New York.
Upstate New York.
So we serve a wide area.
The snows are strong.
I have four-wheel drive, so.
Have four-wheel drives. Thank you, Greg. Take care.
All right,
you don't have. They have trucks with snowplows on the truck, just so they can get to the 7-Eleven. It's amazing. Who's next week on the show? Who's our host next week? It's Ron Richards. Have you ever heard of him?
You know we have the same birthday.
Did you just eye roll, Ron Richards?
You know we have the same birthday.
Do you really?
We do. We do. We're both born May 9.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so Jason is surrounded by two Tauruses.
Tauruses. Mm-hmm. Bullheaded much?
Have you watched All About Android?
Anyway, Ron will be our guest host next week. He could talk about, of course, Android, but making and a lot of things. Here is how you could ask your question on the show.
Need tech help? The new screensavers are here with answers. Email your tech questions to newscreensavers@twit.tv.
Our show today brought to you by The Best Printer. First of all, I love Epsons. Have been an Epson fan forever, going back to the MX80 and the FX80 dot matrix, going to the photo printers. They make the best photo printers. When I went to Tasmania with Mikkel Oland and 10 of the best photographers in the world, what did they have? They had a bunch of Epson, high-quality Epson photo printers for us to print our prints on. We used the Epson printers to print them, sold them to benefit the Tasmanian Devils. These are gorgeous prints. So I've always had Epson printers all my life, and then Epson did it. They announced the one thing that everybody's always wanted. They announced the EcoTank printers. Imagine, no more ink cartridges. The Epson EcoTank printers come with 2 years of ink in the box, in bottles or pouches. We got at home the new EcoTank ET4550. This is a wireless, all-in-one printer. It does faxing, copying, two-sided printing, beautiful black and white text. It's got vibrant colors, very fast because it's using that Epson engine, the Precision Core engine that does 40 million picoliter drops of ink a second. I mean, this thing is amazing. And a refillable ink tank. That's why it won the title of CES 2016 Innovation Awards honoree, because this thing is amazing. You like it, right, Lisa? This is Lisa's printer at home. She won't let me use it. I don't understand why not. The EcoTank ET4550 comes with enough ink to print 11. See, you should let me, honey, because you can get 11,000 black pages or 8,500 color pages. It's your printer, I understand. That's about 50 ink cartridge sets. And you know what's nice? I'm running out to the store to get my ink cartridges. Lisa's just print and print and print, print. Never has to go to the store to get print cartridge. Just print, print, and print. 2 years of ink in the box. And you know what's going to happen in 2 years? She's going to say, honey, go to the store and get more bottles of ink. It's time for a refill. They cost significantly less, about 80% less, and it was easy. I just filled the thing up. It was so great. You're going to love it. The Epson EcoTank was named the 2016 Small Biz Windows Printer of the Year. I'm not surprised. And by the way, they have a variety of printers for every use, including, of course, the big Workforce Buddy that has 20,000 pages of ink in the box. That is amazing. They just put out a creative print app that means you can print your Instagram and Facebook photos right from the web to the printer. You can create photo collages, custom greeting cards, stationery. You know what's hot right now? Do you do coloring books, Flo? You seem like the type. No? Okay.
How did you know?
Do you really?
Yes.
That's really hot, right? Adult coloring books, right? Well, you don't have to buy those adult coloring books. This app will let you print them so you can take one of your Instagram pictures, turn it into a coloring book picture, and color it. Awesome. You can also print right on CDs and DVDs. Epson.com/EcoTank. Go there right now. Learn more. Transform the way your home, your office, your work group prints. The best combination of ease and value. It's Epson's new EcoTank printers. EPSON.com/EcoTank. And if you're just getting into the Epson family, you got many years of a great relationship ahead. Epson, exceed your vision. Megan has this. I'm really glad Megan did this because there was so much to talk about from Apple's WWDC. It was a big week, wasn't it?
It was a really big week.
So we asked Megan, well, she's the host of iOS Today and Tech News Today. She covers this stuff, obsessively. What was your top 10 list from WWDC? And this is what she gave us.
This week, Apple held its Worldwide Developers Conference in San Francisco. In case you missed it, here are my top 10 favorite announcements from the week. Number 1, SOS app on the Apple Watch. This is a new feature of watchOS 3 that will make it easy to call for help.
To activate it, you just press and hold the side button. It's going to count down to let you know it's calling 911, and then you're going to be on a live call with emergency services right on your watch.
It will also notify your emergency contacts and send your location. It's like having one of those "help, I've fallen and I can't get up" devices with the style and sophistication of the Apple Watch. Number 2, Siri Kit.
We're opening up Siri to developers. Send a WeChat to Nancy saying I'll be 5 minutes late, and Siri can summon up the WeChat UI right inside of the Siri environment.
However, it is limited to 6 categories: messaging, ride booking, photo search, payments, workouts, and voice over IP calling. Siri is still stuck using Apple Music, unfortunately. Number 3, Apple's new buzz phrase, differential privacy.
Differential privacy is a research topic in the area of statistics and data analytics that uses hashing, subsampling, and noise injection to enable this kind of crowdsourced learning while keeping the information of each individual user completely private.
However, they also bragged about several new features that seem virtually impossible to do without putting our personal information onto the cloud. And while we've seen that iCloud is a little more private than other clouds, it is far from perfect. Number 4, messages.
Now when you bring up the camera, you immediately see what's right in front of your camera. Like someone in marketing thought that's what someone sees when they bring up with their camera. When you tap on the emoji button, we'll highlight all the emojifiable words there, and you can just tap, 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 and emotify. We're opening up messages to developers as well with iMessage apps.
What was notably missing from the announcement was the rumored Android version of Messages. It doesn't seem they're worried that those of us with Android friends are going to take our conversations to Facebook Messenger. They have stickers too, you know. Number 5, the death of the spinning flower of death. Now, watchOS 3 will be able to keep some apps in memory.
Are you guys ready? Okay, don't blink. That's it.
Number 6, app transport security. In a WWDC session after the keynote, Apple announced that by January 1st, 2017, all apps in the Apple App Store would be required to use HTTPS when connecting to web services. This will keep your data secure in transit, in theory. Number 7, Siri on the Mac.
Search the web for pictures of falconry.
Here are some images of falconry I found on the web.
So I can actually take the results right out of Siri and drag them into my document. It's pretty epic.
Number 8, auto unlock your Mac.
For many of us, we already have a device securely authenticated to our wrists that already knows who we are and could tell our Mac. And so then, when we opened our Mac, it could be a little bit more like this. And we're in. It's that simple.
Number 9, Apple Pay on the web. Using Apple Pay on my watch and my iPhone is one of the biggest time savers in my life. In macOS Sierra, you will be able to use Apple Pay on the internet.
So watch what happens when I click Buy with Apple Pay. I'm prompted to confirm here on my iPhone. I just use Touch ID with my fingerprint, and I can securely authenticate my transaction just like that.
Number 10, actionable notifications. One of the most frustrating things about notifications on the iPhone is how difficult it is to interact with them. iOS 10 promised to change all of that, letting you act on the notification straight from the notification screen.
So for instance, if I get a notification from Uber, I can just press in and I get this completely interactive and animated live status update on my car as it comes in. It's really great.
So those are my top 10 WWDC announcements. Now, all we have to do is wait for these features to come out in the fall.
Thank you, Megan Morrone, host of TNT and iOS Today. That is one thing, though, that Apple can really do is double down on its ecosystem. I've been thinking, why don't we have fingerprint readers on Macintoshes, but you don't need them because you have it on the iPhone.
Yeah.
And it ties together,
Yeah.
right? And it's easier to keep it secure on the iPhone.
That is the one bummer of being an Android user is I don't have that cross-platform.
Because you're a Mac user.
I'm an everything user.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, Android can't do the lock-in because they don't have a complete ecosystem of hardware. I guess Chromebooks, but
we'll see how that translates when Google Play finally comes to. Yeah,
the Android apps on the Chromebook. That might make it a full-blown operating system.
Yeah.
Well, somebody in the chat room said, how long can they put off Flo's review of the OnePlus 3? Exactly this long. Flo's review of the OnePlus 3, ladies and gentlemen. First, let's see it. You mentioned it looks like the HTC 10.
I did make a joke earlier that it looks like the love child of HTC and Apple because you have the HTC antenna borders right here.
All aluminum.
All aluminum, and then on the bottom I thought it looked very Apple-y with the speaker grill there and the
Apple
USB-C
purists will point out that you see how poorly offset that headphone jack is compared to the centered parts of the Type-C connector. That's typical crap Android manufacture. But I disagree. By the way, it has a headphone port.
It does.
Points for that.
It does.
And Type-C, which I love.
It does, and it has this nifty little volume alert slider.
They did that on the OnePlus 2, and that was the one thing on the OnePlus 2 I'm thrilled that they kept that.
This one's smaller though, a lot nicer to
It also
touch.
is the wrong direction. Do you agree with that?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Because the other day I had put it down during All About Android,
Down
thinking
should be
that I
all the
wouldn't
way
have
off, right?
notifications. No, and it was buzzing during
Down
the show.
is all on.
And I was embarrassed.
Up is all the way off.
Yes.
That's a minor detail.
It's backwards.
How about the screen? Because they don't have access to these super AMOLED screens that Samsung makes. This is an IPS LCD screen.
1080p. Hey guys, you don't need any more than that, okay? In my opinion, you don't need any more than 1080p.
In fact, that's what one of the things OnePlus did so well with the OnePlus One.
Super nice.
They got great battery life because they only had a 1080p screen.
Oh, the battery on this thing is really phenomenal.
Is it good?
It's really good. It's a 3,000 milliamp battery pack inside here.
That's a little less than the OnePlus 2.
It is, but that doesn't matter because the battery life is longer and it lasts even a little bit longer than the Galaxy S7, the
I'm happy
5.2 inch, not the S7 Edge, which has a 3,600 milliamp battery.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I bought the Edge. I'm not crazy about the Edge, but I like the giant battery in here.
Right.
So you're saying the OnePlus One will not be, or OnePlus 3 will not be as fast as the S7 Edge, as long-lasting as the S7 Edge.
No, I mean,
close though,
at the same rate, like I've had this off the charger for, it's been in my purse for 3 days.
What?
And it's only at 60% right now.
This is marshmallow-ish. It's not marshmallow. It's
Oxygen OS 3.1.2. It got its update while I was in the process of reviewing it.
Okay.
And it's got a couple of things on it that are a little different. For instance, there's this shelf here. It's called the shelf. Sorry about the glare.
You could turn that off, but if you like it, and I think a lot of people do, that's a nice feature.
Yeah, you can turn it off if you like. You can add widgets. So if you want to put like Google Now in there, and then you can make your own little launcher here. And
so you get that if you swipe right? Is that how you get to
Yes, kind of like how you would Google Now.
Okay. And you could put the Google launcher on there if you wanted Google Now.
Absolutely, and you would still get access to all the wonderful customization features, which are inside the settings panel. That's where it really gets robust. You can choose like what buttons show up in the notification shade. In the status bar, you can choose whether to have hardware buttons or soft buttons.
Oh, wait a minute. So it has capacitive and
It does. I'm using capacitive because I wanted the extra screen space. I didn't want all that taken up.
So this isn't pure Android, but it's pure Android Plus. It's pretty stock. How stock is it?
It's stock with a little
stock
bit
plus.
Yeah, stock, exactly what you said. Perfect representation, I think, of what's going on here. Because a lot of the things that are great about OnePlus's version of Android is that most of that stuff lives in the settings menu. So it's not interfacing.
You don't see it all the time.
You don't see it like you would on a Samsung phone. You're not, tied to its idea of what the interface should look like, which is really nice.
So good screen, good battery life. Now, one of the things that really distinguished this phone, nobody else has done this, 6 gigs of RAM.
Which is why this is my Snapchat phone. Because Snapchat is incredibly buggy on my other Android devices. It crashes my Nexus 6P constantly. And actually, I kind of use this phone over my Nexus 6P unless I have something to do with my SIM card, because I like how fast this is. The extra added bit of RAM, I compared it to performance proofing your PC when you would drop in a couple extra sticks of RAM to kind of help it, go a little bit faster. And it definitely helps in regards to games and really memory intensive apps like Snapchat.
There has been a thread on the XDA developers. There is a setting in there that keeps it from keeping more apps open. It's using kind of the stock number of apps, I think 24 apps at a time in the background. And you can turn that up if you root the phone. And one of the reasons you might want to is it doesn't ever hit 6 gigs. It doesn't ever use all the RAM.
No, it doesn't really need to. Android doesn't really do that natively.
So there's some benefit to 6 gigs, but not a huge benefit.
Yeah, it's a great marketing spiel. Just, first of all, more RAM.
Sold me.
And it's sold, at first when I saw that, I was like, oh, come on, guys, 6 gigs.
More is always better.
But then I started using it, and I realized this is exactly why I've been putting, 4 gigs of RAM, or excuse me, 8 gigs in my PCs, because I want them to just have the little bit of oomph.
This is using a Snapdragon 820. That's what everybody uses now.
Which is so nice, by the way, that this year, all the Android flagships are kind of on the same level playing field compared to the fiasco we had last year.
Well, I feel like last year was a lost year for Android phones because the 810 was such a horrible processor that almost everybody, and the OnePlus 2 had the 810 in it. A lot of people had to underclock and do all sorts of things.
OnePlus 2 had a string of other issues as well.
I was very sad about the OnePlus 2.
It was not a good phone release. I definitely feel like this is the second, third chance. This is OnePlus's adult phone, I want to say.
OnePlus One was such a great phone. You know what I'm
It was.
I'm thrilled
It
that
was.
it doesn't have the pebble plastic back. That was one negative on the OnePlus One. It felt kind of cheap. How's the camera? I see there's a noticeable camera bump here.
This is a 16 megapixel rear-facing camera. It's got OIS, EIS for video. It does everything you need your camera to do. Actually, pretty good low light performance for only being
I like
f
OIS,
2.0.
but it is a kind of a narrow aperture 2.0.
It is very narrow.
Samsung's 1.7.
1.7.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's not that bad. Like the low light photos, pretty darn good for not having a tripod with me.
The images I've seen are fairly good. Have you put images up yet on your site? Or?
I have, yeah, on my review.
Okay.
I did a couple of images in I have like this, little candle area in my bedroom, and I thought it was very nice how detailed they came out. But there definitely is grain. I mean, it's not the same kind of clarity that you would get with a Galaxy S7.
Okay, so a fingerprint reader. It does
fast.
have one, which I like. It's kind of on the front instead of on the back.
I didn't put my thumb right. There we go.
It's boop. It's boop. Wow.
There we go.
Okay, that was
nice.
fast.
Gives you a little haptic feedback. Last year's OnePlus 2 did not have a fingerprint scanner, which people thought was sort of ridiculous because they did have this.
Yeah, I don't want to buy a phone that doesn't have a fingerprint.
I agree. You need to have a fingerprint scanner.
Yeah.
Although it's interesting you bring that up because the Moto Z added a fingerprint scanner after the fact. But anyway, that's...
Does the Z have one now?
It does, but it's just there because it...
Because people said...
Because you have to have a fingerprint scanner.
I think you do.
Somewhere.
I think you have to have one.
But yeah, I'm really impressed with what OnePlus did this year with its flagship.
Well, and we kind of buried the lead. $399.
I was going to say, it's half the price of what you'd get the Galaxy S7 for unlocked.
So you can say, well, the Galaxy 7 has a little bit better camera or a little bit better screen, but it's twice as much money.
Yes. But here's something else to consider, though. Software updates. Now, OnePlus is not committed to when Android N is coming out, if it'll be on the same timeline as everybody else. We know it hasn't really committed to the monthly security updates that are coming through Google's camp.
See, that's important. I want them to say yes to those. I bet they will. They have to.
I mean,
Samsung has. LG has.
They were the
HTC
first ones to come out of
has. If you don't do those monthly security updates, that could be a deal breaker.
This is up to date, so I think we're doing okay here.
I think they're gonna.
I think we're doing okay. Right. I just want to let you have that in your mind, percolate a little bit. Like, consider this is a startup, and you're buying a phone from a startup.
Right.
So
there is an antidote to that. It's easy to unlock the bootloader.
It's
easy to put a alternate custom recovery on it, and you can choose any ROM. And because of its price and the fact that I almost said Cyanogen, OnePlus has opened the source code, the kernel code, and encouraged hacking means there'll be a lot of ROMs for this almost immediately. So you'll always have the option of using a different ROM, a different operating system if you want to.
And it speaks volumes to the user that they're going after, which is definitely the Android enthusiast. Going after them and they're really trying to get the enthusiasts to get the word out about how great their phones are. Again, I'm thoroughly impressed. And the last 2 years, I was kind of like, OnePlus.
I was very disappointed.
I don't know about that.
I was very disappointed with the OnePlus 2, the OnePlus X.
You were disappointed by the OnePlus X?
Well, I mean, for the price, it was fine.
X. Yeah.
But it wasn't a phone I was going to use. Because, see, as I use a high-end phone.
Right.
This is a competitor to the top-of-the-line high-end phones, which is what OnePlus One was supposed to be. The top-of-the-line phone for half the price.
Right.
This time they did it, and I think they did it right this time. Now, let me ask you, how hard is it to get an invite?
You don't have to have an invite. You can buy it without an invite, which is another sort of big deal. But just so you know, this is not available on all carriers. So if you're on Verizon or Sprint,
GSM only.
There are CDMA bands in it, but I asked OnePlus if it works with Verizon, and they said no.
Even with, I'll take it home and try it. Well, have you tried it with your Verizon SIM? Because sometimes with these LTEs...
That's a story. I can't move my SIM card anymore because...
Oh, really? They notice?
Yeah, they've shut off my... This is a whole story that we can get into another day.
Watch All About Android for the full details. They count how many times you move your phone?
Because every phone on CDMA is registered, so they see like what phone you're using,
I do that
and
all
if
the
you
time.
don't have a phone that you bought from them, they will shut it off anytime you do any sort of change to your plan because it's not registered. It's just something to do with their system anyway.
Thank you, Verizon.
It was quite a.
So this is going to be, one thing that's really clear, this is going to be the modder's choice because of the price,
I agree.
the quality of the hardware, and the ease of modding. This is the phone. Everybody in XDA developers is going to buy this phone. You're going to see so many ROMs. And that's good. I think that's what you want. I think that's very exciting.
Next is going to be the stock Android enthusiast phone, the developer phone. Samsung is going to be, I think, continuing to be the mainstream.
Rich person's phone.
Well, they have
the one percenter's phone.
I mean, they have very good subsidies if you're buying it with if you're still doing the 2-year contract thing.
Mine's in gold. Just want to point out.
I have a gold one. I mean, you can't. Once you go gold, you don't go back.
It's true, isn't it?
I love gold. Everything gold, please. Still no rose gold, unfortunately.
Any choices in color on this?
This also comes in gold.
They also have snap-on backs. I ordered the rosewood back.
They do. I have one, but I'm sorry. It's in a Ziploc pouch underneath the table.
Does it just? It makes it thicker, right? Or no?
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Just a little thin veneer. Okay.
You know, the Nexus 6P is the same thickness as this, 7.3 millimeters.
Felt thinner to me.
Absolutely. It's just slightly thinner just because of the way...
The bendy corners.
Yeah, because you know the 6P has a little, bump. Yeah. So when you put a case on that, it's accounting for that...
Bump. Yeah. I call it the periscope. It's this bar at the top of the 6P. It's like a periscope with all the sensors and cameras in it.
Yeah.
So buy, try, don't buy. What's kind of what we...
Hey, if you're looking for an affordable flagship and you're sick of Samsung, I mean, give this guy a try.
Nice.
You know, and OnePlus has really good customer service too. They've really.
Do they?
Well, they've really been.
Because they weren't known for that in the early days, but they were a tiny
It's very
company.
community oriented, so I feel like that,
helps.
when you have a smaller company, I feel like your complaints go through a little bit faster than they would.
And no invite. I ordered mine when
outright.
they announced it, the day they announced it, and it's supposed to come on the 23rd, which is in about 5 days. I don't know if that date has been pushed back, but it sounds like they're prepared to make as many phones as they need.
Yes.
That's really good news.
And they're not going to veer off either this year. I believe that they had mentioned they're not going to go with the OnePlus X. They're sticking, I had a conversation with Carl Pei, and he said they're sticking to flagships.
Stick with this phone.
So high-end stuff.
Go all in on the OnePlus 3.
And making it tinker friendly.
Is there anything missing from this phone that you think they ought to have done?
Well, it's not waterproof.
Okay.
It doesn't have wireless charging. So there's a couple flagship, bells and whistles that you're not going to get.
Once you make it out of metal, you're not going to get wireless charging. It does have quick charging. Look at the size of this.
So,
Jeez, that's huge.
yes, this is one thing. This is not quick charge, actually. This is called dash charging, which it says right here on the dash. So what it has is most of the quick charge compatible phones have the chip inside the charging port, which is why sometimes when you plug in your phone and you're using it, it's throttling down your performance, which is super frustrating when you're using Google Maps in the car. PT dubs. But this is nice because the chip is contained inside the adapter. The bummer is that this is a proprietary technology, which means that you're going to have to buy your car chargers and your rechargeable batteries directly from OnePlus.
It'll work with any other charger, it just won't charge as fast.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And they're claiming 60% in half an hour.
And it's true.
Is it?
I literally sat there and watched it and
you
counted.
can see it go up. 1 minute.
Yeah, it has this cute little, when it's charging, it has like a cute little Thunderbolt symbol on the side and where the battery is. It's very adorable.
60% in half an hour.
63% in 30 minutes.
Now, a lot of times that's deceptive because it sounds like, whoa, it would only take an hour to go 100%, but it slows down as you get closer to 100%.
It's funny you bring that up. So I've been watching phones now as they charge because I'm very curious.
Well, that's thrilling.
I've worked that into my workday, okay? I'm just gonna sit there and watch it charge.
It's a little faster than grass growing.
When you're eating
paint drying,
lunch,
it's about equal.
When you're eating, paint drying.
You got nothing else to do.
Paint drying can be very
fascinating,
therapeutic. But I noticed that when it gets to 98, 99%, it's just like hanging there on the edge. And the other day I was literally yelling at it. Just finished charging already. I get it. You're almost there.
But you know what? I wouldn't mind so much. It's at 90 even. Unplug in and say, I got 90%.
Yeah. I can't benchmark it until it's 100% and
I read
level.
one reviewer, I can't remember who it is, or I'd give you credit, who said the way this charges has changed how I charge. I don't charge at night anymore. I just charge at lunch hour or at dinner because I know that all it's going to take is half an hour to get me back.
I don't charge it anymore either. I just
at night, really? You just
I left it in my bag for 3 days and it's still at 60%. I mean, like I said, it's my Snapchat phone, so.
It's my Snapchat phone.
It's great. It hasn't crashed once on Snapchat.
Ladies and gentlemen, Florence Ion, she has a Snapchat phone.
I do. It's the OnePlus 3.
All right, we're going to head on over and answer some questions in just a second. Our mailbag. While you're going on over there, I'll tell people about my doorbell, if you don't mind, because this is the Ring Video Doorbell. And summertime is here. You know that there are going to be people coming to your door while you're away. You know, I just found out, at least in our area, UPS will only try to deliver once now. And if you don't answer the door, there have been so many thefts, I guess, in our neighborhood, they'll bring it back to the depot and you have to go there. But thanks to the Ring Video Doorbell, I'm not worried, because with the Ring Video Doorbell, when my doorbell rings, even if I'm at work, I can answer that doorbell from here. It's got a camera, a microphone on it. I could see the UPS guy. I can say, oh, you know what? I'm here, I'm in the shower. Just leave that on the doorstep. I'll be right there. And you know, I don't even worry about somebody stealing it because I can always see it's got motion sensor in it. So not only do I not miss a ring, I don't miss a move. Anybody comes up my walk, I'm going to see them. I'm going to have crystal clear video. There's even a new feature they built in the Ring Video Doorbell that lets me turn it on from my phone, my Mac, my tablet, and I can see what's going on at any given time on my Ring Video Doorbell. Now, this works with the wired version. They also have a big battery in it. So if you don't have a wire in your door jamb that you can connect it to, no problem. This will last a year on a single charge. We've got $50 off the Ring of Security Kit, which is a new package we put together that includes not just the Ring Video Doorbell, but also the Ring Chime, so it rings at other places in your house. All you need is a plug socket and Wi-Fi, of course. But it also works with the Ring camera. It's the Ring Stick-Up Cam. You know, I'm just thinking, given that we're talking about burglary, Stick-Up Cam may not be the best name for it. The idea is that, see, they're going for a stick-up, but fortunately you have your camera stuck to your wall. And it comes not only with a stick-up cam, but the Ring of Security also includes a solar charger, so you don't have to worry about power either. And all of that, $50 off that kit. Ring is they've got it, man. This is so awesome. Go to ring.com/NSS for a limited time. Save $50 off one of their Ring of Security kits, the bundle kit or the Pro Bundle kit. Ring.com/NSS. And with their optional cloud video recording, you can easily capture and share video with family and friends or law enforcement. And I actually know people in our audience who've had the Ring Video Doorbell who've caught perpetrators, bad guys, using the video from the Ring Video Doorbell. It works. Ring.com/NSS. Look at that. We magically transported
magically
to the living room.
It is the future, after all.
Well, the whole thing is a green screen set, so really we're just in the same spot with different backgrounds.
Yeah.
It's amazing how we do that. No, it's all real and very expensive, I might add. These were not cheap. These are from, we're trying to decide. I don't think we're going to keep these. What do you think? Yeah. You want them?
I mean, if you're offering.
I'm just thinking, well, these were really expensive. From Restoration Hardware.
Oh my goodness, these are Restoration Hardware?
Oh, everything here is Restoration. You didn't know that?
No.
Oh yeah, even my hairpiece. So let's get the mailbag, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is, also from Restoration Hardware. And look inside, I've got the whole world in my hand. Look at that. You know, this is kind of cool. Did you play with this on Tuesday?
Yes, we had it on the table. It is kind of neat.
I got that. It was for my Father's Day gift for my dad. So don't tell him I'm going to give him this, okay? But in a minute, it's going to start rotating because the light rotates it. It's kind of cool.
Oh.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I thought it was just
You thought there was an engine? No. There's special stuff. We got two. Which would you like?
I will pick this one.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right.
You start.
Okay. Hello, West Coast.
Hello.
That's us.
That's us.
I try to watch every episode of All About Android. I appreciate it. This Week in Google and the new screensavers while I work.
Yay.
I've heard that some of the newer and upcoming Chromebooks will be able to run Android apps. Finally, I totally agree. I'm in the market for such a Chromebook to replace my ailing Nexus 9, so which one should I look at? Thank you very much, Leo, and the whole Twit family. Tom.
I'm going to let you answer that. Do you have a preference?
So I have to be quite honest with you, Tom. I have not yet adopted a Chromebook into my life because I was waiting for this sort of functionality to come before I adopted one. But I did take a look at people that I really trust, which is the Wirecutter. And they actually just recently updated their Chromebook article, which is great. They suggest the Toshiba Chromebook 2, which is back in stock on Amazon. And if that's not there, you can always look at the more expensive version of the Chromebook 2, which comes with a Core i3 processor. Or if you're looking for a better keyboard and better battery life, there's also the Dell Chromebook 13. These are all around $300-400 range.
I'm really thrilled to see the range of Chromebook choices improve. For a while, it was either the very expensive Google Pixel, which was started at $1,000, or the really cheapo kind of Acer $150.
So cheapo, yeah.
And they were just kind of glorified netbooks. It was
absolutely
cheesy feeling. And I always said the Chromebook really deserves something kind of mid-range, $300 to $500, where you could have a nice feeling laptop. And I love Chrome OS, and I don't think we even need Android yet, but I think it's going to be a wonderful addition. But I'm a huge fan of Chrome OS, so I highly recommend it. There's that Toshiba. I would guess that the first thing you'd want to do is figure out which Chromebooks will work with Android. If that's going to be an issue for you, getting the Play Store on there. Right now, it's only 3. It's of course the Chromebook Pixel 2nd edition, the touch one. There's an Acer, one of the ones that folds over, and I think there's an Asus. But anyway, check Google's page. That's for the June release. Right about now, any minute now, they're going to have a developer edition. And then in the fall, there's a larger list. There you go, Chromebooks that support Android apps. There's a larger list. But not everything is on there. So I would be very careful to check that list before you buy. They may not have the newest hardware on there. My guess is anything released from now on will, but we don't know what Google's criteria were, right? Was it that it had to have touch? Does it had to have a certain processor, a certain amount of RAM? We don't know.
We don't know, and it's kind of unfortunate because it wasn't part of the keynote, even though it was such a huge...
They should say what the minimum requirements are.
Yeah.
Or at least say, hey, if you buy a Chromebook after June, everything's going to support this. And that'd be my guess, but again, we don't know.
The Chromebook 2 was on that list, by the way. So you're good on that realm.
Here's what I would look for.
Yes.
Regardless of what you buy, minimum 4 gigs of RAM, yes?
Yes.
Many of these are sold, especially the least expensive ones, with 1 and 2 gigs of RAM. 4 makes a huge difference in performance on the Chrome OS. So get 4 if you can. Storage is a funny one because in theory you're using the internet for storage.
The cloud.
But and a lot of them come with 16 gigs. I personally would say get a 32 gig
Absolutely. That needs to be the minimum on everything now.
Yeah. Well, for instance, you may say at some point as you get more advanced, oh, I want to run a Linux on here, and you can with Crouton, but that takes storage. So I think I would not go with the least amount of storage. 32 seems a nice compromise. You probably won't ever fill it up. Now the other kind of hard thing to tell is the processor. There are a variety of processors, ARM as well as x86, that work with Chrome OS. Your pick has an i3, which that means it's an Intel processor. That makes a big difference in performance. If you can get a Celeron or an i3 processor, those are going to be a little more expensive, but I think they also really help performance. And while Chromebooks work great even in the low end, the fact that it's a little snappier or you can have more tabs open just makes it more comfortable, easier
I
to
agree.
use. And it'll make a difference in your overall user experience. I really like that Dell you mentioned. Acer now has a aluminum body that I like the aluminum body ones. I think they're a little bit higher quality, also a little bit more expensive. And Samsung also makes some very nice
Oh, they do.
Chromebooks.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yes, Samsung makes really gorgeous Chromebooks.
Look at the screen too, because some of the cheaper ones have terrible screens.
They do, and then it's not even worth the little bit of money that you paid. It's not even worth it.
And you can get bigger or smaller screens.
Yeah.
If you can get an IPS LCD, there you go. That is a really nice.
It doesn't even look like it is a
Looks like a
Chromebook.
laptop.
It looks like a regular run-of-the-mill.
Yeah. But you're going to see the prices go up as you get better screens, more memory, 4 gigs of RAM, bigger storage. All of the things we're talking about make it more expensive. I think for well under $500, there's a $390. What is? Show me the top of the line. The $399.99. It's got a 13.3-inch screen. I'm going to guess that has 4 gigs of RAM in it. Probably a 32 gig storage. The big difference is going to be screen. If you get an IPS LCD, do you need touch?
I mean, I think that with the Android apps coming, I feel like I would want the touch.
That's a good point.
I like to have the option. I'm one of those people. I like to have the option.
That's going to cost more too, and usually a touch screen will be one of the better screens.
It will be. Yeah. Just spend for it.
Price is no object. Get a Google Chromebook Pixel 2.
Yes,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And really, really expensive. This comes to us from Jason Galloway. He's a member of the Makespace of State College in State College, Pennsylvania, themakespace.com. He says at the Makespace they were given a large screen television. They've been using a Chromecast 2, his Chromecast 2, so that he can cast videos, maker videos from YouTube to it. He says, here's the problem. YouTube will play the next video, but it isn't always something our makers want to see. In fact, the longer you let YouTube autoplay, the weirder the videos get. Have you noticed that? If you just leave it on,
I have had some party fumbles because of that.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you leave it on. Anyway, there are better ways to get the autoplay to work. Make a playlist.
Absolutely, make a playlist. Or there's great functionality that you can actually use your phone, the YouTube app on your phone, to add to the TV queue, which is great. You just do it from your phone. You're on the couch, or wherever you have your
He has an interesting question, which is, he says, Pocket Cast supports. There are a lot of apps besides YouTube that support Chromecast. Maybe I can make an RSS feed and do it on Pocket Cast, something like that.
I have never done that, but I mean,
I guess you could.
It sounds...
This is makery, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fire up your Python there.
Yeah.
You get your Python, and you go out and you scrape anything that says the word maker, and you put that in an RSS feed, and you put that in your Pocket Cast, no problem. You could also, here's another way. This is a YouTube answer. Subscribe to only Maker, to a bunch of Maker channels.
Yes.
And then you can autoplay your subscriptions, right? Right?
Right.
How else could he do this? We're just trying to think of a lot of different ways. He says really he wants to create a self-maintaining playlist or an RSS feed.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this to you, our fine audience. If you wanted to have an auto-updating RSS feed, there are apps that will use Google, the Google, what do they call that, where it's searching all the time and shows you your name, like Google's keyword thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I get those
Google
updates.
alerts.
Yeah, I get those updates in my inbox every day.
And you put it, you search for Florence, like me. I search for Florence Ion, and everything she does, it shows up in my box. So you could have that somehow channeled into something that works with a Chromecast.
Yes.
You know what? We're going to have to work on this one.
Yeah.
I like this. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
That's you, Wade Dead. I want you and Kyle and Creamy Corn Cob and Reverend Dan and Zip Dog and Conky. This is for you. This is your assignment. Talking in the chat room, they're weird. Thank you. Hey, thank you.
Hey, thank you for having me here today.
Thank you for the great job you're doing on All About Android. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I love
and you
it.
said people could read your review of the OnePlus 3. Where can they see that?
They can. You guys can read my review at PCWorld.com or greenbud.com. Same site, different name, whatever. Or you can just follow me on Twitter, and I will tell you every day what I'm writing because, self-promotion, got to do some of that.
Oh, that flow.
That's me.
Is it OH, that flow?
OH, that flow, FLO.
There you go.
That flow.
Oh, that flow.
I was doing ridiculous things.
Flow. Thank you all for joining us. We do the new Screensavers Saturday afternoons, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2200 UTC. You can catch Flow every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next time on the new Screensavers. Bye-bye, everybody.